You like it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I feel a bicycle.
Yeah. Yeah, guess what? She's gonna get too big for it and then you get it. Exactly, yeah, I know you want a bike. No, when you get too big, which is like a year. Exactly. Her father tall? Like me? Okay. Look, it's like the plastic more than the bike.
Squishy.
Her brother would be like on it right, you know, running down the road already.
He's not getting on. Don't give me no idea, no?
I'm not really sure if you guys get tired of my bad bathroom video jobs that I seem to go on 10 years ago. 2008 and 9 is when I started on YouTube with bad bathroom jobs. Jobs that went south back in the day because everybody's doing everything to make a dollar. And I go through that spiel a lot anytime I start to critique a bad bathroom job, bad shower job specifically. I don't know if you guys tire of those or not. Sometimes I feel like I'm repetitive. Sometimes I feel like I post too many of these. But at other times I feel better because I know that I've saved some people some money. I've saved some aggravation, some time, some material. And this case is a very typical example of that. I think these people had Googled me, or actually gone on YouTube to look at bad bathroom jobs, bad shower jobs, etc., etc. And of course I pop up because I've got quite a few of those type of videos. When I popped up, they started realizing some of the mistakes that I enumerate on my videos, and they started realizing even, look here, I think this is the first indication that these guys hadn't really built a shower because there's no scabbing. There should be a 2x6 behind here. All the way around there should be a 2x6 scabbed in there. Nobody told me to do that. When I first started out 20 years ago, I went on bathroom shower jobs that I was tearing apart, and I was pulling apart the shower pan, and I'd seen the indentation of the shower pan because the concrete or the cement material, the shower pan mortar, if you will, started bowing in. Did it cause any damage? Did it cause any problem or anything like that? No. But it made sense to me to put in something a little girthier between those studs. So I started doing that 20 years ago when I don't think really anybody was. Maybe a few people, but I didn't run into it a lot is what I'm getting at. YouTube didn't exist 20 years ago. Didn't even exist 10 years ago when it barely existed 10 years ago. So all of these things that I start talking about when I criticize bad shower jobs are all the things that you wouldn't know if you've never had one of these done before. You couldn't know that. These people knew that because, again, they didn't see the scabbing. And then everything kind of started going south from there, and they decided they were just going to have me come in and give my opinion because they're in Metro Atlanta. They're actually a good ways out from where I live. But anyway, I came here for a consultation. While the people were actually here doing the job, I waited for them at the end of the day to leave, and then I came in, and it was, I wish I had take some pictures or something. There was so much mess going on here. These guys didn't have a wet saw. There were tools that were caked on. They had a level that you couldn't even read. It was just caked with mud and all kinds of different material that, like, I think the sight glass, they had polished off the sight glass. Oh, by the way, excuse me with my S's. I had a tooth pulled a couple months ago, and I still have until I get that tooth replaced. So pardon me. But yeah, they had cleaned off the sight glass so that they could actually see it, but the level itself was basically useless because it had so much stuff gunked on it, and that mess permeated. I mean, this whole area had just mess and garbage and all that stuff, and nothing was covered, and nothing was. In fact, they were doing the Durarock, the Wonder Board that you see right now. The Wonder Board was actually outside. They had a couple of moving blankets outside, which typically I'll put there to kind of stage some of my tools, but they actually used those to do their scoring and snapping of their board. in the customer's bedroom. So we try and, you know, mitigate as much as we can the dust. I always put up a curtain in the doorway, and plus I always close the doorway, and you can see I have my blankets down there and all that stuff. But they were actually doing their cutting outside of there, just causing a lot of excess dust for nothing. This stuff should be cut outside, no matter how you snap and score it or cut it with a skill saw like I do. All that stuff is done outside, not inside. And so a lot of that stuff, and plus when I saw their tools and I'm seeing, you know, nippers, and I'm seeing, you know, a manual tile cutter and all that stuff, I'm like, oh no, 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 where's the wet saw at? And I'm not saying every job has to be done with a wet saw, but these are some of the hints that show me that these guys really don't know what they're doing. And so these guys got out early. They were able to salvage, as you can see, no tile was set, thank God. Nothing was done past what you see. So you have 4 or 5 sheets of Wonder Board that were put up unnecessarily on the front of the tub. I usually just put green board up there. Unnecessarily on the outside wall here, because yes, there's going to be tile on here, but it'll never see water, and I don't really believe what the backer board is matters, because if it's red guarded, it's innocuous and it doesn't matter, or any waterproofing for that matter. But there were so many mistakes going on here that very little you can see now, and as I said, I wish I could, mistakes meaning, I'm going to get to that. Besides all the nasty tools and that they don't do proper cleanup and all that stuff, which matters, it matters because it gives you an indication of how organized they are, or lack of. When I say mistakes, it's a very subjective thing. There is a slight drop off right here, because what this was is a solid wall that they removed. So there's a discrepancy between the old floor and the new floor. So they didn't bother to fill in. It feels like maybe 3/8 of an inch or 1/4 inch discrepancy. So they didn't even bother filling that in with the rest of the way with another piece of plywood that would fill that gap and make everything kind of level. And in the end, that's not a huge deal, but I haven't lifted the shower pan liner, so I don't know the other things going on. I don't know how they set the drain, if they set it properly. There's a lot of stuff that I don't know. One of the things that I did notice right off the bat, this is a shower floor drain. And one of the things that I'm kind of focused on is symmetry, and this is way off. Like, this drain should be over here, and it's not over there. And so sometimes floor joists will give you a problem. There might be a floor joist running up against here and they weren't able to move over there. So I'm not going to like beat them up because it wasn't exactly center. You have to pick your poison. If the floor joist is sitting here, you have to decide it's going to be off center to the right or off center to the left. But more to the point with this, a lot of guys that you'll see on YouTube, these are the bolts for the top locking flange that eventually go on there. These bolts have a shaft that is skinnier than the head, and so a lot of guys will just cut with a razor knife. You know, they'll either cut a circle, which is to me a big no-no, or they'll cut a little X or whatever, and then they'll kind of push that through there. Well, in the meantime, you're stretching that out much wider than it needed to be because the shaft isn't that wide, and I just don't do it that way. I prefer to do, if you watch my videos at all, and you can go through my library to find out how I do it, but these bolts should completely come out, and this liner should set flat on the floor. Then you cut a small tiny X and put the shaft of the bolt through that tiny X. That way you have a nice tight fit. Anyway, besides that, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff that was a heads up to the customer, and when I came in here to start with, I saw some of the material, I saw some of their tools being used, I saw some of the prep work that was being done, and I'm going, what are these guys actually doing? So over here, for example, this, and again, all these are minor things. I'm not trying to beat these guys up to death. These are minor things. But in the long run, they matter. We know we're going to be setting tile out here, both on the floor and the curb. So then why would you not, and this is what I would do, why would you not cut this sheetrock? You don't have to go all the way up that distance, but you're going to have to cut that sheetrock out anyway, about this far, so that you can get the pan liner wrapped around the curb. This little 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 that the pan liner isn't wrapped around doesn't really matter, but had they cut this little sheetrock out, they would have been able to have a straight cut, as they did over here, before they try and scab in another. See, so they got a straight cut here, but let's just go around the sheetrock. For what reason? Like, do it right. Just cut that part out. You can replace it later on. Little stuff like that. This is the same scabbing they did on the other side. So they didn't want there's some problems here. There's some problems. So they didn't want to go to Floor and Decor or somewhere, a tile store or whatever, and get the dam corners. The dam corners are actually a preformed piece of rubber pan liner material, if you will, that actually glues in 3 separate ways. It glues in right here and glues in around the top. And true enough, and I will be the first to admit, when I take out showers, I'm going to see the damage mostly over here on the corners, and the corners should be adhered to. However, when you set the wall board on top of here, this is already wrapped, and this is already waterproofed, and you have wall board sitting on top of here, and you're waterproofing everything, and no water can get through here. So therefore, no water can get into this crack. So therefore, putting that there is absolutely useless. If no water can get through your wall board, then having this pan liner should technically only have to be 3 inches above the curb to do what it's supposed to do. And yes, you could have it longer, as this one is, about 18 inches or so, and it doesn't do any harm, but neither does this. It doesn't do any harm to have it, but it's not doing you any good. Water can't get through here. Once everything's wrapped and waterproof, water can't get through here. So having dam corners serves no purpose. Even making one of these up serves no purpose. But it also should have been glued in, and by the time I got here to do the consultation, they were going to slap another piece of wallboard in here, so the customer told me. They weren't going to bother gluing it in here. I guess they thought that it would just fit in here nicely, but there is a specific PVC glue that this should be overlapped as it is, about 2 inches, and all that PVC glue should have been holding that down if they're going to do something like that. But again, it doesn't really matter because it's not serving any purpose. While we're on the curb subject, let's talk about the wood they use. This is pressure treated 2x4. Oh, look at here. I'll take that right off. Pressure treated 2x4 there is a chemical that that they pump into this lumber. Ooh, the middle one isn't. That's kind of weird. So there's a chemical they push into this this lumber, and when all said and done, this is like for an outside application. If you're building a deck or a fence or something like that, then it's going to resist what this one won't. So just normal pine is going to rot away in a couple years, whereas this one will have much more longevity. The problem that I had with pressure treated wood, I stopped using it on curbs eons ago, because as I looked outside on fences and decks and things like that, I saw that when it dried, it twisted sideways, it twisted upward and downward and all that stuff. Probably in about 5 years from now, that starts warping around. I'm not seeing a lot of nails. I see one here, and there's probably another one somewhere. They didn't use a lot of nails or screws or anything to screw that down, so that's another big problem. That despite the fact that they didn't use the proper wood, they didn't use the proper amount of nails. One nail? That's all I see. You truly don't know what you don't know. Hello, peekaboo. As I said, I have a lot of bad shower jobs. I cannot remember where I've run into this before. That's new. That's definitely new. One nail. Guaranteed this, as I said before, this board would warp in different directions, and definitely with one nail in there, not even double tap all the way across. Nails are cheap. Nails are really cheap. So he has a total, this one didn't even hit anything. Well, that's not even a nail head either. Interesting. So he built this whole wall with a sandwich piece of pine, and didn't even fill that in, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4 nails. 4 nails for a 4 foot span, 3.5 foot span. Incredible. Alright, so what I was talking about earlier with this little dip going on, I understand what's happened now. This all used to be a linoleum, and if any of you guys are familiar, when you set linoleum, you have to have some sheathing on here, a finished piece of 1/4 inch board to go on here. Linoleum's not going to work on this OSB or CDX or anything, so they want a nice finished smooth surface for the linoleum. And so what they did is they tore off the linoleum, but they didn't bother taking off this, and more than likely they glued it on, which is the reason why they didn't tear it off. but at the very least they could have filled in this with some mortar or some thin set, as it were, filled that little gap in, and have it kind of squared off. So as you can see, there's no scabbing going on whatsoever. They're not going to have a shower door here, but if they were to have a shower door, the glass guy is kind of going to miss that one little piece. There is no reason there can't be another 2x4 that's sandwiched in between these two. No reason whatsoever. Although if they didn't have enough for there, they're not going to have enough for there. So there's that. Now we get into the drain part. Oh, by the way, let me grab. This is specifically medium yellow, all-weather, one-step CPVC glue. One step meaning there's no primer needed. And that's what you use on CPVC. You don't use it on PVC. It's not a PVC glue. It's specifically designed for CPVC. Period. End of story. What I see this drain glued with is this. And this didn't belong to them. I grabbed this out of the truck because sometimes I do work with CPVC. But you don't glue PVC or anything else with, and I can see it clearly down there too on that transition where the 90 stops. Another thing is, and this is important, there's no P-trap. If there was a P-trap, then you should be able to see it go up, and it's not going up, and it wouldn't have enough room to go up and down. Well, anyway, there's no P-trap that I can see. So clearly I'm going to have to take this board out. It was screwed down, cut out and screwed down. So I'm going to have to take this out and kind of investigate exactly what they did. Okay. I have finally dismantled the top portion of this drain. As I said, don't use CPVC glue. I don't think it's a good idea. Will it stick? Yeah. But I don't know that I would chance it. Looks like a good coat though. If any of you wondering how you cut out the drain like that, there's an inside pipe cutter. Looks like a spur, cowboy spur, and it goes 3 inches in. So I went a couple inches in, and I was trying to get right at the pipe. I almost made it. This is a little bit of a no-no. You shouldn't have a 90 right away. If you're going to do a 90 like they did here, it should be a sweeping 90. So it's a nice flow of water rather than an immediate flow of water. Another thing, 4 screws that hold this whole top piece in. So I don't know if you can see through there. There's no scabbing of any 2x4 or 2x6. Well, there couldn't be, because if they ran out of 2x4 for here, why would they ever do it on the sides? I mean, you have a slight movement of flooring, and if that movement transfers through the pan liner and transfers through the pan, then yeah, you're going to have a cracked pan and cracked tile a year, maybe 6 months down the road, maybe a month down the road. It matters. So I'm glad I got into this. I kind of regret having cut that because I can, before I came on camera, I can see there is a P-trap over here. But there's no floor joist over there. So the fact that they didn't center it is just sheer laziness. The 4 screws is sheer laziness. No scabbing. Just last 1 screw out of there. There's 1 screw there, 1 screw here, 1 there, 1 there. That was the only thing separating this floor from all the weight, including the person that's stepping in here. Craziness. I kind of sort of see why they didn't center the drain, because it would have meant reconfiguring this whole setup. Obviously this wasn't them right there. This was going forward. So they did this really weird 90. That's a street 90, but it's a different type of configuration of a street 90 than I've seen before. Meaning it has the male side here and the female side over here. So definitely shouldn't be done. This is kind of the sweeping 90 that I was telling you about, and that's appropriate. But I can kind of see why they didn't center, even though they didn't have anything here to hinder them, is because they would have had to reconfigure everything. But the reality is you could actually cut off that 2-inch pipe right there, cut it backward about that point right there. That's going to get you the distance that you need, and then you can actually configure your P-trap any which way you want. In this case, I'm probably going to make it closer over there, but I'm definitely going to take care of that, because that just messes me up. It's, I don't know, it's symmetry. You have your shower head completely center on the wall, shower head, and your shower valve completely center. Yeah, so there's no reason that they should have just shortcut it and not have this center and kind of line up with your shower valve right straight down. So I'm going to tackle that. I think I've critiqued as much as I possibly can. They were only here 2 days. I mean, you know, look at that. Whoa. I could slide my finger in there. They don't even have this bottom plate. Although I did put a level on the wall, and it is level, and it is sort of anchored. Jesus Christ, why would they? You got 1 nail? 2 nails. A toenail nail, and that's it. Maybe another toenail. I would have used 15 nails on this board. On this board. Nails are cheap. Oh my God! And this is kind of a floating wall here. Stupid mistakes like this. 2 or 3 nails here. 4 nails here with no scabbing. I don't know what to tell you, folks. You know, I put out my type of information. By the way, my channel has never really been about DIY. Yes, I have a lot of videos, how to do this, how to do that, but other guys do videos of that stuff. They want to pat themselves on the back and show how, I don't know, how good they are. You know, how well they can put a speed video together, and, you know, look how many likes I have and all that stuff. My channel's never been about that. My channel started out with showing bad shower renovations 10 years ago, and I continue to show the mistakes so that you'll know as a consumer what to look out for, like these guys did, and stop the job. And I wish those other YouTubers would actually start. Every shower they're building, they're taking something out, and I know they're not running into perfection, and I know they're not running into, they've got to be running into some of these things, and why aren't they showing that? That's a better question. I think there's one tile guy out there that actually does sometimes post a video of bad shower jobs, but I know he runs into more than he shows on his channel, and I think it's imperative that homeowners know what they don't know. And so, you know, you other guys out there, start showing this stuff. You know, don't be posting videos of all your mistakes. Hello, you shouldn't be making mistakes. You're a professional, and I'm going to hire you, and you're going to break a water pipe, or you're going to do. No, I'm not going to hire you. You shouldn't be making. I've never made mistakes like that. No, I'm not perfect. But I've never made the type of mistakes that some of these other guys are posting on their YouTube channel. That's not a good look. And it has nothing to do with, you know, oh, you're a big man for showing your mistakes. If it's a true mistake, but I think some of it's fake. That's just my opinion. This isn't fake. This is somebody else's screw up, and I want to show that. And I wish other guys would show screw ups like this, because I think this better informs homeowners than you showing you screwing up something. Even if it's 5 or 10 years ago. I don't get callbacks. I don't make stupid mistakes like I see on some channels. And those are stupid mistakes. Hey, if you enjoyed that video and you learned something, consider being a Patreon member. $5, $10, $15 a month would help me greatly produce more videos. I make nothing from YouTube at all. If you're going to call me for advice, please donate $50 for 30 minutes. My link to my PayPal and my Patreon account is down below. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you get immediate notifications as soon as I post videos. And thank you very much for your support.